When the war is in the heart, when the fire lets you start, when the road is not my weary way.
James, shut the fuck up.
Oh, come on. Well, I tell you what, a song is going to be coming before the end of the show, Dan. My name is James Rowlands. In 2015, I teamed up with my friend Dan White to create the WNR podcast. Since then, we have been giving you everything that's happened on the WWE Network. Now, in 2018, not only are we live for the Big Four events and every NXT takeover, but we celebrate 20 years since the birth of the Attitude Era. Plus, every month we'll bring you 205 Live, collections, new content, W pay-per-views and latest news on the WWE Network. Until we've watched everything, we are with you, and we are the WNR. So yes, it is our Christmas special. The WNR presents its 4th annual Christmas special here today. We are at the WNR Cottage with an open fire and our sacks are full of presents. On this very special show, we have the 4th annual WNR Awards, but it is Christmas. And Dan, you our past Christmas specials, you haven't always been in the Christmas spirit, but how are you today?
I'm feeling a lot better. I don't know if it's because I'm winning predictions or I've pretty much spanked predictions. I'm feeling a lot more Christmassy. I think this year has been a very good wrestling year.
Yeah, well, yeah, it has its ups and it's had its downs, and we'll go into finer details when we do our New Year's special where we have a look back at the year. But we're going to try and celebrate today, and everything that is Christmassy. And of course, we've got all the WNR staples that we do. We'll be having a song later on as well. Let's not forget that I always have to sing on the Christmas specials. Of course, like I say, the WNR Awards. But well, let's start with a look back at 2015 to 2017 in the WNR Awards, because obviously we started the podcast way back in 2015, and we've been doing this now, like I say, this is our 4th one. And Dan, you very kindly have gone back and kept a record of all the awards we have handed out. Were you surprised by any of them?
A few of them I was surprised. Yeah, we started off, and I think we was only doing, well, in 2015 we done 9 different awards. Mm-hmm. We upped that to 10, and now we've got, Jesus, a lot more awards, basically.
Yeah, 21 awards. It looks like, plus we're adding a couple more as well, so we'll keep everybody informed, and everybody can of course let us know who they think their awards go to. We've always had the kind of main ones though, haven't we? So every year we've always had entrance,
pay-per-view,
women/diva,
match,
underrated,
one to watch,
tag team stable,
move,
and of course wrestler. And we'll bring that all to you. So let's go back to 2015. Our picks were, so Dan, who was your entrance of the year that year?
My entrance of the year was the Wyatts. It was still relatively new. They was coming down, all the Fireflies, and especially experiencing it in person, which is, it is just an awe-inspiring entrance. Everything's dark. All you've got is lights and, just swaying backwards and forwards. And it is quite mystical. Yeah,
and I picked Age of the Undertaker at Survivor Series. It was the 25th anniversary of Survivor, or 20th anniversary of the Undertaker being there. One or the other. I think it's 25 years. And he was there and they had the video on the screen of showing all the Undertaker's kind of, past involvements and the kind of things that got me into a wrestling fan when I was a kid back in, 92, when he was in the casket and stuff like that, and nowadays as well. That was my entrance.
Yes, we go on to pay-per-view.
Yeah, the early going pay-per-views. Mine was NXT Takeover Brooklyn started the same time as we did, so we're going into Brooklyn 4, of course, we had that. So I picked Brooklyn. I think the main event there was Owens versus Balor in a ladder match for the NXT title. I think we had Banks versus Bayley as well. Yes,
and of course my amateurism was exposed there, because my favourite event was, for some reason, Beast in the East.
Well, you liked it. That was Lesnar versus Kofi Kingston.
in that classic encounter.
It was a month before. I could think of Balor versus Owens again for the NXT title when Balor actually won, But we're quite similar on the Woman of the Year in a way. I went Sasha Banks for 2015.
Yes, and I went Bailey.
Yeah, it's a shame what's happened to those two really since then, hasn't it? You know.
Indeed, it is. Yes.
So then we moved on to Match of the Year. I picked Bailey versus Banks at TakeOver Respect, which was the first ever Iron Woman match.
Yeah, that was a very good match, if my memory serves me correctly. And mine was Balor versus Neville at TakeOver Rival.
Yeah, an event we actually didn't watch on the network as well, which I thought was, a good choice for you, maybe. And then Underrated of the Year.
Yes, well, mine was Neville. I thought he was really underutilised for what he can do in the ring. And
if you look at Neville now, of course, he's trying to make it his pack again on the independent scene. Mine is Stardust, and I'm glad to got that right as well. Because obviously Cody Rhodes, and everything that he could accomplish, that's good to see.
One to watch. Now this is it is a weird one. It's a wrestler that we think is going to be big in the next year or so. Mine was Ryback.
Oh, wow. Well, we always get one, don't we? I mean, I picked Apollo Crews, and they've not really done a lot with him in the meantime, have they? So, we'll see. But at least Apollo Crews is still employed with the WWE, so I suppose that's a good thing.
Indeed, yes. And Ryback's currently doing independent style wrestling. And then we've got tag team / stable.
Yep, mine was the New Day. They just formed, a year previously. And they were doing their bits and pieces, and I thought, they got a bit of chemistry. They will be my tag team of the year. And I was impressed by your choice that year as well.
Yes, mine was Dash and Dawson, what they was known as, but now they're known as the Revival. And, even still they could go in probably the underrated category.
I see by your awards of 2015, he's swayed by, kind of NXT as well. It seems that you obviously got into that. So, Beast and Yeast featured NXT talent. Of course, Neville's a part of that as well.
Bailey,
the match of the year, only the Whites, but even the Whites came through NXT in a weird way. Yeah. Then move of the year, Owen's pop-up powerbomb. He debuted in 2015 in WWE, and, you got to admit, it's a really cool move.
It is a cool move, yeah. It's something that's slightly different, it's a good variation of the powerbomb. Mine was Neville's Red Arrow. And I was absolutely awestruck at just the technicality that it must take just to hit a move like that.
Without a doubt, it is a thing of beauty, and that's a good choice. And then rest of the year, the big award for 2015, I picked Seth frickin' Rollins. He just got injured in the September-October of that. He had the WWE title reign, of course, but I think at that point it was kind of the hottest thing going. It was a shame that he got injured and missed out, But I think Seth Rollins was a great choice. And Dan?
Mine was Dean Ambrose. I think he'd had quite an impressive run in 2015. He was. I think he was slightly overshadowed by the other members of the Shield, but I don't think that could take away from what he had actually accomplished.
Yeah. So there we go. So our first wrestlers of the years were Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. So, that was our first year, not really, getting into it. And then we move on to 2016. We added one more award to that, like you said, RKO of the year. So should we start off with that?
We could start off with our new one, yes. Mine was on Brock Lesnar.
Yes.
And it was partway for a Paul Heyman segment. I remember it like it was yesterday. And just as Paul Heyman says, the RKO can be hit out of nowhere. He'll never be able to hit Brock Lesnar out of nowhere. And bang, just like that, Randy Orton ducked in the ring, hit Lesnar with an RKO out of nowhere, and it was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it was great, and that's probably the most competitive Randy Orton looked against Brock Lesnar in that feud. So we had that. Mine was on Kane turning heel and join the Wyatt family. Again, I remember this for a weird reason. I thought because it wasn't it was just a kind of standard RKO, but what it meant for the Randy Orton character, it turned him heel, aligned him with the Wyatts, brought him a tag team title run, and then eventually brought him the WWE title as well, didn't he? Because he beat Bray Wyatt at that WrestleMania. I think that was important for the Randy Orton character to still be relevant kind of in 2016 as it was.
Yes, and we go back to the top of the list again, and entrance of 2016.
So, entrance of 2016, mine was Bobby Roode on the plinth coming out. How can I forget? At NXT TakeOver, one of the greatest entries. I mean, they got Bobby Roode so right in NXT with the entrances and everything that came along. And that match that Bobby Roode had versus your entrance of the year basically was it just felt like a massive moment, because sometimes NXT might be lacking in that, but it just felt huge because you had Bobby Roode coming out on a plinth, then you had Nakamura, didn't you?
Indeed, yes, and you had Nakamura coming out, and again, it's something, he come out with a violinist, and then another violinist, and then another violinist, and the violinist just kept coming, all playing in sync, Nakamura's tune, and it was glorious.
Well, that's a shadow of a doubt. And then pay-per-view of the year, mine was Survivor Series 2016. I honestly can't remember Survivor Series 2016, but if I picked it, I'm sure it was good. Dan?
Mine was NXT TakeOver Dallas.
Well, who can forget the main event was Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar, with Goldberg beating... Yeah, how can we forget that? Goldberg beating Lesnar in what was record time, 1 minute and 26. You had a 5-on-5 Survivor Series elimination match, Team SmackDown, which was Styles, Wyatt, Ambrose, Orton, and McMahon, with James Ellsworth. Defeated Team Raw, which was Braun Strowman, Jericho, Owens, Reigns, and Seth Rollins. Lee Brian Kendrick defeated Kalisto. You had the 10-on-10 Survivor Series tag team match, and you had The Miz defeating Sami Zayn, single match for the WWE Intercontinental title. A 5-on-5 women's match, Raw versus SmackDown. And that was about it. You had a Cruiserweight 6-man tag match on the kickoff, and you had Kane versus Harper. But yeah, Lesnar versus Goldberg. I must have really been into that.
Yeah. Well, I think it was probably the shock factor with the Goldberg thing. But mine, NXT TakeOver Dallas. It was a beat in the Revival to capture the NXT Tag Team Championships. Austin Aries, remember when he was part?
Yeah.
And he defeated Baron Corbin.
Oh my God.
You had Shinsuke fucking Nakamura defeating Sami Zayn.
That was when he made his debut.
Indeed, yes. Oscar capturing the NXT Women's Championship from Bayley.
Oh my God.
And Finn Balor defeating Samoa Joe.
Wow. So that sounds like two good shows, actually. So go back and watch them. Of course, if we've picked them out for our events, they must be good. Women of the Year. Again, second year in a row for me. I went Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks got the second Women of the Year award. I mean, again, I was a huge, and still am a huge Sasha Banks fan, but they're just kind of not using her enough.
Yes, and I had to agree with you, because I also went for Sasha Banks. I just think you'd kind of converted me to a bankhead or a banker. I just think she was very impressive. Well, my match of the year was Cena versus Styles at Money in the Bank. And Styles, he made his debut at the Royal Rumble that year. I don't know if it was just because I was in awe of seeing AJ Styles, but I think he had a great match with John Cena, because as we know, John Cena's history, if he's with a good opponent, he can pull out a very good match. Yeah,
and Styles came in, and like I said, Seth Rollins was out with injury, and AJ Styles came in and just picked out that kind of baton as soon as he walked out at the Royal Rumble and was delivering these kind of 5-star matches on Cena, and also a cracking match. My match of the year was Miz versus Ziggler at No Mercy 2016. Ziggler put his career on the line to have an opportunity against the Miz. Miz was a cracking Intercontinental champion, and had just done his talking smack thing with Daniel Bryan. And Ziggler, who at that point in time wasn't featured at all, gave it his all. It was like a 20-minute match, and I thought it was really well put together. Ziggler getting a victory, and that was my match of the year.
Underrated. Yours, James?
My underrated was Rusev, and I think I'm spot on with that. I mean, you think about what they could do with Rusev. He can play a heel really well, a kind of anti-authority figure. Like we've seen on SmackDown recently as well, a comedic character with Lana. There's a lot of stuff that guy can do. Plus, he's, for a big man, very impressive in the ring. Still a great wrestler and very entertaining. There's something likeable about Rusev, and I think most definitely he's been underutilised still in WWE.
Indeed, yes. Mine was Cesaro. I think, at that point he was just starting to find a groove. I don't think he's even part of the bar yet.
I think he's feuding with Sheamus, and they were just starting kind of that out. But it's weird that both our picks for kind of underrated are champions now, 2 years later in WWE. Spoiler alerts for anybody that's not seen SmackDown. Anybody who's not seen SmackDown.
Next week's
SmackDown even, yeah. One to watch for the year, mine, Ember Moon. Oh, fuck, again. Became NXT Women's Champion to Oscar to the limit afterwards. And, of course, now on the main roster. Dan, you're a huge fan of Ember Moon at the moment, aren't you?
I am a huge Moonhead. Mooney? I'm a huge Mooney.
And who's your one to watch, Dan?
Well, James, I think after all the hype that you built up for him in the first few episodes, because as you know, previously mentioned, I have gone back through the WNR archives. I've been listening to a lot of cassette tapes of previous podcasts, and yeah, I thought Corbin he had the look, but I just don't think he kind of delivered.
No, I think that's fair enough. He didn't really deliver, did he? And now he's been a kind of whipping boy of the entire W roster, to kind of getting blamed for it. So we'll see if Corbin can recover. Tag Team Stable of the Year, I copied you for 2015. I got the Revival for 2016. And again, like you said, great tag team in NXT. Didn't put a foot wrong. Worked really, really well. You know, what went wrong on Raw, we just don't know. But who's your tag team?
Mine was Jericho. It was, the Festival of Friendship. He had kind of the Jericho list coming into that. Jericho, as if we haven't raved enough about him, he's always been an awesome character ever since we've kind of watched him from the WCW days. And, Team Kevin Owens as well. You had the Shark Cage match with Jericho in it. It was just absolutely, I don't know, I just kind of dug their team.
Yeah, I know, you were really into it, and that was your tag team of the year. Move of the year was the Shield 2.0 on AJ Styles. Yeah, so move of the year, Dan?
Yes, move of the year. Mine, have you already done yours?
No, but we've got the same move, so I'll let you do it. We've both got the same move.
Oh, yes, mine was Shield 2.0 on AJ Styles. They kind of reformed for a brief moment at Survivor Series to triple powerbomb AJ Styles through the announce table. And, it probably wasn't so much the move, it was just the fact of who was doing the move.
Yeah.
And, it kind of like, could they get back together again at some point?
And what a huge pop it was when it actually happened as well. The fans really, really into it. We had Wrestler of the Year, our final award of 2016. And I picked AJ Styles. Like I said, matches of the year, against John Cena at Money in the Bank, and just constantly performing in 2016. A great run with Roman Reigns as well at pay-per-views. And was just, like you said, Rollins went away and AJ picked it up, and AJ ran with it in 2016, And Dan, who was yours?
Well, James, I went completely different to you. I went for AJ Styles.
So AJ Styles was your Wrestler of the Year. So that's the 2016 awards. Right, before we move on to 2017 awards and other stuff, let's just do a bit of news and new content. So we're going to talk about TLC Fallout, because we had TLC, of course, that was our last podcast that we released, and we had a big Raw and a big SmackDown happening afterwards. Now, I think the big news story coming out of Raw and indeed SmackDown wasn't kind of anything that really happened wise. It was the news right at the start, wasn't it, Dan,
Well, yes, it was that Vince McMahon was going to appear the following night on Monday Night Raw to shake things up. So
Mr. McMahon showed up, and he was there on Raw, but then he introduced Triple H, Stephanie, and Shane McMahon to come down, and they had a huge announcement, a massive shake-up to the WWE.
All three of the younger family members said they were taking back control of Raw and SmackDown Live, the four of them together. Triple H said that they're going to see new faces, new stars and new concepts. And Vince finished it by saying, as long as they give fans what they want, WWE will not be then, will not be now, it will be forever. So what are you making of this statement, Dan, of the McMahons finally taking control? It does open up promise. I think it is kind of a bit out of order that they've pushed it all on Baron Corbin when every single person knows that everything goes through Vince McMahon. I honestly don't think that's right, because it's obviously tarnishing, the good name that Baron Corbin had left, which wasn't that much. And, I think they should just hold their hands up and say, look, we've been dicks. They're going to say, we're going to give the fans pretty much creative control of what they want. I don't think we're going to get much creative control, but, Yeah.
Well, the news coming out of it is that, Finn Balor is going to get a push from it, and other people who think, the fans kind of like. But like I said, it is McMahon's and it is Triple H who are writing the show. His team of writers on Raw. The product's so bad, and due to advertising, is that Raw has to be 3 hours, and it is affecting the show. It's affecting it badly. And now McMahon to come out and say this, I just don't know. It's just kind of like, what can they do to change it? They're always going to do the same thing. Do you know what I mean? And not. It's always going to be what the McMahons want to do as opposed to what the fans want to do. And like I said with Corbin, I felt really sorry for him, and it's just like, I'll just blame it all on him. And everybody knows it falls with the writers on Raw. And on SmackDown, I felt really sorry for Paige as well, because I think Paige has been doing an excellent job,
Yes, but they've kind of put it not down to Paige. They've put it down, it's, again, them taking control. Paige isn't being removed permanently. She's going to get something found elsewhere.
But I don't think they needed to change SmackDown. SmackDown wasn't the issue. I've been really enjoying SmackDown these past few months, especially with kind of, like Bryan Styles feud, the tag team division.
Well, we'll move on to SmackDown summary when SmackDown summary's here.
No, we'll just do it all in one. Do it in all one go. I mean, there wasn't enough stuff on Raw and SmackDown to really write home about, was there?
Nothing actually changed.
No, there was no change into it.
You had Balor versus Ziggler, which is kind of what's been going on anyway.
And ended with McIntyre with disqualification, destroying both of them.
Tyler Breeze open challenge. The Open Challenge King, but this time it was Dean Ambrose's Open Challenge.
And Dean Ambrose can barely beat Tyler Breeze, so, that makes him look nice and strong.
Yes, Bobby Lashley and Elias, that's been changed up because it was actually Elias hitting Bobby Lashley this time.
Yeah, I'm so glad this feud is continuing.
Yes, we did have a Fatal 4 number 1 contenders match, though, for the Tag Team Championships. And the Revival, after being bigged up by Seth Rollins the week before, they did from Authors of Pain and the Lucha House Party. And then, of course, you had Ronda Rousey saying what she did at TLC. But I think the best part of Raw was the gauntlet match to determine the new number 1 contender for the Raw Women's title.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good match, wasn't it? But we kind of knew who was going to win that. Natalia was going to get the job done because they have been building it Ruby Riott. And we know there's a storyline there between her and Ronda Rousey anyway. So, it's kind of like, all right, yeah, they're changing it up so they put women on, in the main event. But there's a lot of stuff they're going to do. And they're going to nick Becky Lynch and Charlotte and bring that over to Raw as well to try and make that more entertaining. Which, they need to do that. But I felt, like I said, I felt a bit sorry for SmackDown in all this because it's like, again, I don't want to see McMahon. It's like they come out and they say, we're going to change everything for what it normally is. And then they do a 20-minute promo at the beginning. Do you know what I mean? And it's exactly the same as any Raw when the McMahons are on. It's just like, we'll change it up. Start of a match maybe.
But the promise of Vince McMahon actually upped their viewership quite a lot.
It did. It did. It added a few 100,000. But there's a lot that needs to be done to the Raw audience to build it up again. And I think the same with SmackDown as well, because Fox are asking for a lot of viewers when it jumps over to Fox in September. So, I mean, that would be an interesting thing to watch. But I don't think Raw was anything special, especially coming after a pay-per-view. There was nothing really there that kind of, made me excited. With all the talk of change, I think SmackDown's been good, whereas Raw is in a serious problem right now. So I don't know how Raw are going to fix it. I really don't. They need new tag teams. They need new focus. They need a singles title. The heavyweight title, the Universal Championship needs to be there, so the wrestlers have actually got something to fight towards. And the Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins feud is killing Raw at the moment because no one cares about it. And I never thought anybody wouldn't care about an Ambrose versus Rollins feud, but it's just flat as fuck,
Yeah.
It's like leaving Iron Brew out after a couple of days, and it just falling flat. Like the fans don't care. The most over storyline in WWE at the moment is Becky Lynch and Charlotte and what's going on there, and people are eventually going to turn against Ronda Rousey.
Most definitely, and I've always been in the against Rousey column, so you can't tar me with following the sheep.
So, SmackDown summary then. Dan, you said you were going to mention it quick. What were your thoughts of SmackDown this week?
I thought SmackDown, it was quite consistently good. We start off with Becky Lynch coming out saying, just because I haven't got the title, I'm still the man, blaming Ronda Rousey. Charlotte came out and, they've had their back and forth. And then Asuka came, the new women's champion. She came out and Vince McMahon he actually made a surprise appearance. Well, it was a surprise because this appearance was unannounced. He basically said, look, if you want retribution on Ronda Rousey to Becky Lynch and Charlotte, go do it. He's kind of said, if you want to get back at her, you'll find a way.
Yeah. So, and the match has been announced now. We know at the Royal Rumble it's going to be Becky Lynch versus Asuka for the SmackDown Women's title.
Has it, though? Because Paige tweeted out after that, because that was announced on
Main event.
Yeah. But Paige said, I thought I had enough power to get one more match in. It wasn't. Oops, my bad.
Oh,
and she actually tweeted that from her account.
But because Becky Lynch got to be one of the favourites now in a Rumble match if she hasn't got an opportunity, and the same thing with Charlotte. Did make Asuka a little bit foolish because, of course, did she win it by fluke? Because Rousey took out Lynch and Charlotte, did it give Asuka the opportunity? Does it make her look weaker? Asuka can recover from this, but they need to book her strong. They need to put her out there and just go through the opponents because let's make her kind of unstoppable again now. Let's give Asuka a chance, at least WrestleMania, defending the Women's Championship as well. But no, I think SmackDown's right. The tag team division as well on SmackDown finally coming to life as well, isn't it?
Indeed, yes. As we previously mentioned, Shane McMahon announced that Paige is stepping down as general manager. He said that she's going to get into a new undefined position. I don't know whether that's on her back.
I'm sure Shane will find the right position for her,
Indeed, yes.
But it's a bit of a shame that she is going. But again, I was so happy about the fucking tag teams. I don't really care about Paige. I mean, Paige, yeah, she's doing all right. Will she come back as manager? Why don't she come back and manage Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose and bring back Absolution and or something like that? Do something like this. But we had the like I say, the tag teams are great because the Usos, New Day, and the Bar are great tag teams anyway, aren't they? And then you throw into the mix the Good Brothers that finally showed up after however long they did, and they finally get involved. They had a match with the Usos, did they, or the Bar?
New Day versus the Usos. The Bar came down, started walking down the rampway, and then from out of nowhere, Sanity came and attacked them from behind, took out all 5 men, 3 of the New Day, 2 of the Usos. And the Bar was just like, all right then. They stopped in their tracks. And then just after Sanity had finished beating down the 5 guys, they walked out the ramp, kind of had a bit of a face-to-face with the Bar. And then Sheamus and Cesaro, for some reason, started going down to the ring and kicking the shit out of the already limp and lifeless bodies of the New Day and the Usos.
Oh, all right.
So they just made themselves look like dicks.
Yeah, well, Sanity are around. And like I said, the Good Brothers are back as well. And they got a huge victory on SmackDown. Spoiler alert as well. Coming up on the Christmas Day episode. It's great to see them back. It's great to see Sanity back as well. And these 5 teams, like how strong the SmackDown tag team division actually is, It's a great thing to see, and this is what SmackDown needs to keep doing.
Yes, and as far as changing up things go, you had Samoa Joe attempting an intervention for Jeff Hardy. I mean, that was completely ridiculous. But, again, for, new opportunities, you had Naomi getting an opportunity against Asuka for the WWF SmackDown Women's Championship. Of course, Asuka won it.
Yeah. But Naomi's a great talent, let's not forget. And it was a good match between the two.
Naomi.
Oh, that's Samoa Joe. I'll tell you what about Samoa Joe that I like. He's really good on the microphone. And I don't think he gets enough credit for that. I think he's really good in getting that character across. Yet he's still moved on to Jeff Hardy and talk about his personal demons as well, which WWE always seem to do, but...
Well, you had The Miz and Mandy Rose versus R-Truth and Carmella. So R-Truth and Carmella, after winning the Mixed Match Challenge, they've been buried by The Miz and Mandy Rose.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
The Usos versus Ganderson.
Yeah, I mean, the Usos versus...
Oh, that's what happened, yeah. It went to a no contest because Sanity showed up.
Yeah, so the Usos were there. They were fighting the Good Brothers. Like I said, Sanity came down and just beat the crap out of it. Really, really good. Like you say, with Ganderson involved... with Sanity involved, with New Day, with the Bar, and the Usos. It's just a great tag team division now.
Yes, but the main event was absolutely brilliant. And that was Daniel Bryan and the 311 boy Andrade Cien Almas going against AJ Styles and SmackDown Live's newest recruit, Mustafa Ali. And, after the brilliant performance that he'd put in, but he put in a very good performance against Daniel Bryan previously, but he got to team up with AJ Styles, and with the inverted 450 splash, he managed to finish off the WWE champion.
Yeah, after nearly breaking his neck, but the reverse 450 got the job done. Ali is making the most of his chance. I don't know where it came from. We've been talking about him for a long time on 205 Live. He's a great character, and is he the new generation's kind of 1-2-3 kid or something like that? Is he the new kind of babyface guy? I don't know what they're doing, but it's a great thing that they are doing with Mustafa Ali. A bit worrying about the Daniel Bryan situation, but they did say that. Well, Bryan said that he was fine and no problems afterwards. And there was an interview. Ali said sometimes when he jumps off the top, he don't know what he's doing. He just closes his eyes, then hits the target. But he gets a victory. So are we going to see Mustafa Ali versus Daniel Bryan match for the WWE Championship at some point?
Potentially, yes. My favourite thing about that was you could see exactly how much it meant to Mustafa Ali during and after the match, because he was constantly smiling.
Yeah.
And that is someone that, you definitely know he's not phoning it in because of the brilliance he can perform in the ring. You just know it's someone that appreciates exactly what he's got and where he is.
Yeah, no, fair play to him. And like I said, Raw and SmackDown are going to be a little bit affected the next couple of weeks. Xmas Day and then New Year's Day as well, which is going to be great for it. So that's all pre-recorded. So the next proper Raw and SmackDown will going to be the 7th and 8th of January, if I'm right about that. But that's it. For this year, what have you thought of Raw and SmackDown? It's a bit of a silly question because usually we go, what's the better brand this year, or whatever that is. I think Raw is seriously struggling at the moment, and it's kind of SmackDown being top. Like, we'll go more detail about that actually on New Year's, the end of year kind of review. Bit of new content then. And WWE's given its network subscribers an extra treat this holiday season with 12 days of hidden gems on the network. All the events will be Christmas themed, and it's kicking off with world-class Championship Wrestling event from 1981. The Christmas Star Wars event is missing 3 matches, but here are the following matches you can see on the network listing.
Within the last hour, the Christmas Star Wars event from 1981 was added. The Christmas Star Wars event from 1981 was added. This was one of Big Time Wrestling's, the future WCCW, biggest show of the year. Unfortunately, it isn't the complete show, as 3 matches are missing that took place on the night. However, it must be remembered that this was never intended for TV viewing. It was effectively just a large local show, and the network team may well have just pieced it together as best they could from their archive. With that in mind, here is the card for this network version.
You got Ernie Ladd versus Jose Lothario for the world-class Brass Knuckles title.
That's a fucking title bout.
Championship don't have anymore.
El Solitaro versus Tim Brooks.
Fritz Rate Kabuki in a Texas death match.
Kerry, Kevin and David Von Erich versus Frank Dusek, Bill Irwin and Tengu.
And a 2-ring battle royal as well. That was just the first event. Like I said, they're releasing them up until Christmas. So day 2, December 15th, was the AWA Christmas Night 1981. AWA, Greg Gagne and Jim Buzzell battle a rough and rugged team of Jerry Blackwell and Sheik Aden Al-Kassi.
Day 3 was a holiday message. And in 1992, Macho Man Randy Savage teams up with legendary New York Yankees owner George Steinbrenner to offer a very macho holiday message.
Day 4th, December 17th, AWA Christmas Night 1982. WWE Hall of Famers joined forces with Hulk Hogan teams with Tito Santana to face Ken Patera and Bobby Duncan in AWA action.
And day 5 was Mid-South Christmas Nights 1983. Butch Reed and Jim the Anvil Neidhart puts the Mid-South tag titles on the line against Magnum TA and Mr. Wrestling 2 in a steel cage match.
Day 6, December 19th, AWA Christmas Night 1983. The AWA Heavyweight titles up for grabs when Hall of Famers Nick Bockwinkel and Mad Dog Vachon go to war on Christmas Night 1983. And Christmas Day and Night Wrestling was a kind of tradition. Could stop now. But a tradition, they're the biggest crowd, the biggest event of the year usually would be the Christmas event. Everybody would go after their dinner to go and watch professional wrestling.
Day 7 was the AWA Christmas Nights 1984. And on Christmas Night 84, Kurt Hennig and Nick Bockwinkel battle it out in AWA action.
Day 8, December 21st, is Smoky Mountain Wrestling Christmas Chaos. Mick Foley takes on Bruiser Bedlam at the Christmas Chaos event in 1994.
Day 9 is the AWA Brawl in St Paul, and on Christmas night 86, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty look to claim the AWA Tag Team Championships from Buddy Rose and Doug Summers.
And that's it, we've got another 3 to come. We can't wait to bring you that, but also we've got other new content as well. WWE Network will air 4 new original shows next week between Christmas Day and New Year's.
Oh my fucking days. The first one is called Fashion
Files Cold Case Unit and will air on Christmas Eve at 11 o'clock, immediately following the conclusion of Monday Night Raw. The show, hosted by Fandango and Tyler Breeze, will take a look and try to find out who threw pie in Kevin Owens' face last year.
On Christmas Day, Xavier Woods will host Xavier's Arcade Challenge. The show airs at 7:30pm. We'll have the New Day member invading the arcade scene in the city of brotherly love, seeking a challenge in the retro gaming classic NBA Jam.
Bo Dallas will host the WWE Kitchen Showdown on Thursday, December the 27th, starting at 7pm. This show will feature Dana Brooke, Alicia Fox and Curtis Axel competing in a cook-off for guest judges Enz Cantner, Noel Foley and Mark Henry.
And not least, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson host the Botch Club on Friday, December 28th at 7pm. This will look at the botches that happen during wrestling shows with a special look at the infamous Titus Wells slide at the Greatest Royal Rumble. So 4 very good shows coming to you on the WWE Network. But let's get back now to the WNR Awards, and let's finish up 2017 before we have a break and do the WNR Awards for 2018. So let's go back 2017 then. And we added, like I say, a shit ton of awards for that. We start off with Comeback.
Holy Shit 1 and 2.
Oh, we do. Most Improved.
Johnny Gargano Award for most the Johnny Gargano Award for most punishment taken in a match.
Yeah, we got Better Off Love.
Overrated.
Tweet. And that was one, so we added 8 more awards to that then. So let's start off then with Comeback of 2017. Dan, who did you go for?
Not that he actually went away for long, but he came back.
And you were impressed by that?
Not really, looking back.
No. Well, some people have mistakes. I went Drew McIntyre for Comeback of 2017. He came back, became NXT champion, and basically dominated, and is still dominating now, everything in his pathway. So McIntyre for me was a great choice. Came over for you, not a great choice, but hey, it's always this year to sort that out. What was your holy shit moment? We had a good holy shit and we had a bad holy shit, Dan. No, you didn't. You just had 2 good holy shit moments. So holy shit.
It wasn't actually put of a bad holy shit or a good holy shit. It was just holy shit.
So what was your holy shit moment then?
One of them was the super duper plex at War Games, and that was Adam Cole getting super duper plexed off the top of the cage at War Games.
Yes, yeah, that was yours. I had a bad and a good one. My bad one was Jinder Mahal, WWE champion, beating Randy Orton at Backlash, one of the most shocking moments in WWE history, and that's why it was holy shit.
And my second moment was Shane McMahon's cage dive, when he jumped off the cage, aiming to hit Kevin Owens, who was then pulled off by Sami Zayn.
Which was a mental moment because, like I said, Shane McMahon could have seriously hurt himself. And my other holy shit moment, the good one, was Hardy's returning at WrestleMania, being part of the ladder match, the 4 teams coming out, what a huge pop it was, what WrestleMania moment it was, and becoming tag team champions.
That was absolutely brilliant. Most improved.
Who have you got most improved 2017, Dan?
I went for Roman Reigns.
Ooh.
Because I thought he'd had a very few good matches. I think he was allowed the leash off in some of his promos as well, so he was kind of given a bit of free reins, so to speak, and he was kind of revealing himself a bit better, and thought even in ring he'd approved.
Yeah, but I can exactly see where it's going. Reigns improving and becoming like the guy. In 2017, mine was The Miz. The Miz was just great on the mic, in the ring, and he's still so great, but his matches were just getting better and better. And I can't remember last time I saw a bad Miz match, and I think The Miz improving 2017, and hopefully 2019 he becomes WWE champion again.
Well, just like my comeback Kane, your most improved Miz, we don't always have good calls. But
What, you comparing the Miz to your Kane comeback?
Yep. But we go on to a special award.
Dan has been drinking today, by the way. It's our Christmas special. What can I say? He always has a drink.
Fuck knows what you've been taking then last year.
An award I came up with, which was a great, I think, one of probably our best awards that we do. The Johnny Gargano Award for most punishment taken in a match. I mean, this was given out to Johnny Gargano back in, I think, May of 2017, after he'd been in a hellacious ladder match with the Authors of Pain at TakeOver, where he got the granny, as people would say, kicked out of him in a losing effort. And we thought, oh my God, what a lot of punishment. But it wasn't over there, was it, Dan?
No, because his tag team partner, Tommaso Ciampa, turned on him and inflicted further punishment on him as well, and just beat the absolute sod out of him, sent him through the announce table, and yeah, it fucked him right up, and he'd just been through a lot.
Yeah, so that was the Gargano Award. Would he win it for a second time later on? We just don't know. Better off last year, Nakamura down, because Nakamura had come up to the main roster and not a lot had been done with him yet. Little did we know that he would go on to win the Royal Rumble like a month later, which should have really been one to watch in 2017 as opposed to that. But he was better off because he was treated as a proper star, and I don't think SmackDown knew. And they still don't know how to use Nakamura, did they? So, even if he won the Rumble, they didn't go all out with him, and I think it's a mistake. And I think Nakamura might have been better off in NXT than he was in WWE.
Yes, and kind of, in a similar light to that, I went for Bobby Roode. I mean, the year before, he was riding high in NXT. He was having good matches. His character was very over, and everyone enjoyed what he was doing. He was a heel, and he was a cocky heel. He gets moved up to the main roster, and he's a baby face, and, he was still relatively over with the fans, but I just where it stopped. He wasn't doing anything overly spectacular.
Yeah, and I think this is the thing with Bobby Roode, that he has struggled, even though he's your tag team champion now, which is weird. We move on to the most overrated, and I went for Brock Lesnar. Now, people go, oh yeah, of course, but I've been a huge Brock Lesnar fan. I think 2017 is the year I finally gave up on him completely. There was no point for Brock Lesnar doing the same thing over and over again. Will he win it for the second year in a row? There is a huge chance. Dan, who was yours?
Mine was Triple H. Come back in... Well, it kind of sporadically appeared. Was it that... It was that Survivor Series where he took it upon himself to win the Survivor Series tag team match when he didn't need to. Yeah. And, I just think... Come on, mate, look. Yeah. Nearly 20 years in the business. Why do you need to... have a think about yourself? Yeah, and he's still doing that, well, apart from the injury, but he made himself the forefront of the Undertaker comeback, Shawn Michaels coming out of retirement, Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania. He still plays, and he's still head of not the Authority, but now, part of the action on Monday Night Raw. Plus, he still plays the face Triple H on NXT. So, it's kind of, he does put himself around a lot, and I can definitely see Triple H. Tweet this is, we came up, or you came up with last year. Dan, who was your tweet? What was your tweet, James? My tweet of the year was Finn Balor not overcooked, because they were saying of how Balor wasn't over. Vince McMahon thought that, and Finn Balor was posting stuff. Overcooked turkey for Christmas and stuff like this, and he even had the T-shirt made and stuff. So that was my tweet of the year. Because Dan took mine. No, I didn't. I didn't whatsoever. Well, mine was one of James's favourites to another of James. It's very simple, and it was just after Drew McIntyre had beaten Bobby Roode for the NXT Championship, and it was out of time, so say goodbye. What is yours, now is mine. And for Drew McIntyre fans, that was basically his previous theme when he was the chosen one. Yeah, without a doubt. That was a great tweet of the year. We also had RKO of the year. Dan, who was yours? Mine was on Aiden English, and it was when Rusev Day was very big, Aidan English was on like a plinth singing Orton's theme song with Rusev. You know the way Rusev Day in the theme of Randy Orton's theme song. And again, just out of nowhere, Orton comes in, hits a RKO, and then hits Rusev with an RKO as well. Absolutely beautiful.
Mine was, again, more not what the RKO, but what it meant was him hitting the RKO on Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania, winning the WWE title for the 13th time. So you can see how last year's RKO was him joining the Wyatts, and this one was definitely getting one over on Bray himself and walking out to WrestleMania as W Champion. I mean, what a moment it would have been if Dan had picked his man to win at WrestleMania. But, right, so, entrance of the year last year, Dan.
Mine was Finn Balor at TLC coming out as the Demon King. And again, despite in the early years of seeing Finn Balor, I actually thought he was a boogeyman type rip-off. But getting to know and appreciate Finn Balor, seeing him come out as the Demon King, you know he means business. And, just him coming out in the makeup, all the mystic of it, and that, it was absolutely perfect.
Yeah, I mean, the Demon one is a brilliant entrance, and my entrance of the year was Drew McIntyre coming out with the bagpipes, and the guys coming out playing the bagpipes with the kilts, and it was just perfect for McIntyre. And of course, he went up. That was at Brooklyn, winning the NXT title that night as well. It was just perfect for Drew McIntyre.
Indeed, yes. And we go on to pay-per-view of the year.
Now, mine was NXT TakeOver San Antonio, the very first pay-per-view of 2017. In the main event, Nakamura losing to Bobby Roode for the NXT title. I got out of that. I think that's what swayed me a little bit, but I always remember Bobby Roode beating Nakamura. Dan, what was your pay-per-view?
My pay-per-view was NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 3. And you had Andrade Cien Almas, the kind of newly resurged Cien, defeating Johnny Gargano. You had Sanity defeating the Authors of Pain for the NXT Tag Team Championship. You had my man Ali B defeating Hideo Itami in, I think, NXT TakeOver match. You had Asuka defeating Ember Moon. Again, these two women had brilliant matches for the NXT Women's Championship. And, of course, the match that you just mentioned, Drew McIntyre defeating Bobby Roode for the NXT Championship.
I loved NXT in 2017. Honestly, it was absolutely brilliant. I mean, two great pay-per-views, and surprising again, NXT TakeOver events. There's only been one pay-per-view out of the 6 that we've chosen over the past, times. Been one WWE one. That's Survivor Series 2016. Beast of the East featured NXT matches, so I'm not counting that. So it had an NXT main event. So,
but then again, if you look at it, there's probably about 5 matches on each of the NXT takeovers. I think there's only about 5 or 6 matches on Beast of the East as well.
Yeah, exactly. So
again, I think, despite what women say, longer isn't always better.
Yeah. Well, talk about women. The women's rest of the year, I have picked 2015, 2016. I, of course, went for Asuka in 2017. No one was ready for Asuka.
Even we wasn't.
No.
I think even in one of her first takeover events, I went against Asuka.
I know.
Like an idiot. If only I knew. But I also went for Asuka as Woman of the Year because she had a phenomenal year. And, basically 2017 was her oyster.
It was.
2018 should have been her oyster.
It should have been, but 2017 was, like I said, the year of Asuka. Match of the year for me, only one choice really. Tyler Bate versus Pete Dunne in NXT Chicago. A match, if you still go back and watch it, is fantastic. And another great fact about it is that's where Pete Dunne won the NXT UK title. So that match, Dunne is still holding the championship from that matchup. It was perfect, and it was the two British guys. It just stole Chicago, basically, didn't it? It was a kind of, 10 out of 10, 5-star. And what was yours?
Mine, again, last year I went for Cena versus Styles at Money in the Bank. Cena versus Styles at the Rumble was even better than that.
Yeah.
Cena capturing his 16th heavyweight championship in, what was easily a 5-star match. Absolutely delivered. I think it took a super AA to finally put AJ Styles down.
Yeah, didn't it? You know, and it was brilliant. A match. It's two great matches there. All right, so underrated. I picked Ty Dillinger. Ty Dillinger is still employed with the WWE, the perfect 10. Just not getting employed right.
He's out injured.
I know we reported it. We did report his hand injury, but it's a shame they're not using him a little bit more than they have done this year. I just, if they put him at number 10 in the Rumble again, it just seems like that's his only job really now is to do that.
Fuck it, you can Rumble predictions.
Yeah. Well, who was yours underrated last year?
Mine wasn't just one, it was two. It was Luke Harper, because, as previously mentioned, brilliant performer in the ring, standout member of the Wyatt family. And Mark Andrews as well, Mandrews. I don't think, he'd been quite given a chance in NXT because, that was pre-NXT UK. Absolutely impressed us in the UK title tournament. And, yeah, I just thought he was absolutely brilliant in the ring.
Yeah. We've only got a couple of categories left of 2017. So there is one to watch. So one to watch for 2018. Dan, who was yours?
Mine was my man, Ali B. Alistair Black. I mean, he had first come into it and he was looking very impressive, from his entrance to his... and that beautiful black mass kick.
Yeah. I mean, he was my one to watch as well because he was my one to watch. He was just so gosh darn entertaining, and coming in 2018, we knew it was going to be big. Yeah, NXT champion, the injury, but can't remember the last time a wrestler got injured and he actually made a big payoff like it. Alistair Black seems to be a bigger star with the injury right off of him who attacked him and all this Johnny Gargano stuff delivered before. And I've no doubt in my mind Ali B's definitely got the potential to move up on the main roster and actually be used correctly. Do you know what I mean? And I still think that's a great choice for one to watch in 2018.
Indeed, yes. Tag team or stable?
Well, I think for me, 2017 was defined by kind of Usos and New Day, that kind of rivalry that they've been having. Of course, New Day were my pick the very first year, 2015. I then went, of course, for Revival, and now with the Usos. I mean, just three great tag teams, but the Usos kind of really deserved it. They changed their gimmick completely, didn't they? They were kind of fan-friendly, colourful outfits and the makeup, changed it completely to Deus. And everything like that, seriously, just really, really delivering in ring as well, So I got to give credit for the Usos for my tag team of the year. And they're still performing great now, do you know what I mean?
Indeed, yes. Unlike my tag team, and Rollins. I mean, I don't know if it was their actual matches themselves, but I just think it was the way that they got together, teasing, fisting each other in the ring.
Yes.
And...
yeah, it's always good for team fist each other. Sometimes Scott Dawson might want to try flips, but it's just going to be hard fisting. The Arrival. But what about your tag team of the year? It's unbelievable.
Well, they're kind of teased getting back together again as a tag team unit, and it was Dean Ambrose offering the fist to Rollins refusing it. And vice versa, Rollins refusing the fist, Rollins offering the fist to Ambrose, him refusing it. And when they kind of they just both fisted in the ring.
Yeah, fine at SummerSlam, wasn't it?
It was, yes. And it was just the hairs on my arms was standing up, and it was just a very exciting moment.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. And they would have had the, Shield came back together as well, and it would have worked had it not been for the kind of injuries that they had, with Roman Reigns and, of course, Dean Ambrose being out as well. All right, so move of the year, I went for the Eclipse, Ember Moon. She had debuted, and that move is fantastic, isn't it? It's one of our favourite moves. Ember Moon is definitely someone out there. She was one to watch the previous year for me, and then a move of the year is just a character that I can get behind, and I think it's really cool. Dan, what was your move of the year?
It was my favourite moment of the year, and it was all of 205 Live on Enzo Amore. I mean, it couldn't have happened to a more deserving person. Enzo was being a complete and utter dick about it, about everything. And the whole 205 Live roster had enough, and he got to pull... first off, he'd got planted by Braun Strowman, with a running power slam, and he just, ushered the rest of the 205 Live roster to just say, look, have at him.
Yeah,
and they absolutely beat the shit out of him.
They did.
Couldn't have happened to a more deserving person.
You showed me that clip at least 200 times.
At least 300 to 400 times.
Honestly, so many times I saw that. But it was a great moment for him, getting beaten down like that. How would we know that he wouldn't last long going into 2018 as well? You had your wish, didn't you? But last award, of course, Wrestler of the Year, I think is more important than kind of match or pay-per-view of the year.
It's not more important than Woman of the Year, though, James. It is equally as important as Woman of the Year.
And that's why this year our main award will be the Woman of the Year as opposed to the Man of the Year, and that's how forward-thinking we are, the WNR podcast.
But then again, we don't clarify people as having genders.
No.
It is not a gender-specific award.
Yeah.
But you do have to have a vagina and tits
to
win the Woman of the Year.
The thing is, though, right, so I went Sasha Banks 2015, 2016, Oscar 2017. I went Seth Rollins 2015, and then 2016 I went AJ Styles. 2017, my rest of the year was AJ Styles as well. So that's kind of weird that I've gone for two wrestlers kind of same. If you compare the two, you compare Oscar to Seth Rollins and AJ Styles to Sasha Banks. For me, I can't really differentiate between the four. There's still great talents in the ring. I class these four as fantastic, which they are. There's no real difference. But AJ Styles for me, 2017. If 2016 was a good year for him, 2017 was even better. Because, winning the WWE Championship the way he did and having the reign, beating Jinder Mahal, and then having the reign building into 2018, and having a great match against Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series. Styles rarely put a foot wrong. Dan, who was your male wrestler of the year?
Again, I couldn't disagree with you on that one. I also went for AJ Styles for the second year in a row. Excuse the pun, but he was phenomenal.
Yeah. I think without a shadow of a doubt, AJ Styles definitely deserved to be Wrestler of the Year in 2017. Right. So it's Christmas time, like so we'll get into the Christmas spirit. And Santa Claus, well, Dan, have you been a good boy this year?
I've been a really bad boy.
You've been a bad boy. Well, unfortunately, it looks like Santa doesn't care because he hasn't got coal in your full sack.
Thank
Dan.
fuck I haven't got anything to do with that cunt.
Yeah, so you haven't done anything. But it is a very Christmassy, maybe. We might touch on that later. But it is time for Santa has delivered to us here at the Christmas Cottage. And Mark Tardis, why did you get married to Sarah Logan? Honestly, our Twitter's going to go crazy about this, but I don't know why you did. We're seeing the news today. Please let us know. Tweet at Mark Tardis, it's his doppelganger. But we have got presents now. I'm going to try blue ones, and you try red ones. There's no name tags on them, so we have no idea. See if it happens.
Jesus Christ.
Red. Right, so we've got a few presents, haven't we, from Father Christmas?
We
wow.
have been awfully good boys.
Yeah. Right, hang on a minute. So let's open this up first, because this is just to the WNR team. So...
Is it a medal? Is it an award?
I don't know. It could be a podcast award. Well, whoever taped these up did a good job.
It's a pack of condoms. What are they trying to insinuate?
Well, let's see if we can get into it. This segment might be a little bit longer than I hoped for.
Filled with wrestling.
Yeah.
If you thought Ice Cubes was a game changer.
Yeah, we've had this, and what the fuck is this? WWE, you've sent us something. Oh, it's a Bobby Roode. What?
It is a Bobby Roode Christmas tree decoration.
Oh, but well, I tell you something. We have got the Christmas tree here in the corner. Shall we both pull it on the Christmas tree? We'll take a picture of it so everybody knows what we're doing on Twitter. Here we go. Well, that is glorious, Dan, isn't it? Having on the Christmas tree there.
Well, the WNR tree was naked without it.
And now he seems to be staring over at us, like saying, "Please help me." All right, so Dan, do you want to open up one of the presents? We'll see what we've got.
It is the right way.
All right, and what is it, Dan?
I have got... Oh, it's not inflatable, but it is an Alexa Bliss cuddle buddy.
Is it a cuddle buddy? I don't know. Oh, I've got one. Hang on a minute.
An Alexa Bliss toy.
Hang on a minute. Oh, wow. You must be happy about that. You must have been a good boy for Santa Claus to get you that. Dan, stop sniffing
It's
it.
not scratch and sniff.
What have I got? Oh, look!
Should we have a fight?
We got Oscar. On is ready for Oscar. I'll take this out the bag quickly. Wow, my God, Oscar looks great here. Like a little tall, not that big. I mean, she's probably about, well, at least 12 inches.
At least 14 to 16 inches.
Yeah, that, and then Oscar and Bliss going at it now. Oh my God.
Scissor.
We can't show you what they're doing, but we'll take pictures of these and show you as well. Don't worry about that. I'll open up my bag for you, Dan.
Hold it open for me so I can enter it.
Right, what else has Santa Claus got us?
Present number 2. Oh, it is a TJ Perkins t-shirt, a TJP.
Wow. So one of your guys, yeah. You were a fan of him a couple of months ago.
He's got bad habits at the moment.
But still, a very rare T-shirt. I think you find that Johnny Gargano's got. Oh wow! I've got a classy Freddie Blassie Legends T-shirt.
Classy Freddie.
Wow!
Blassie.
Talk about old school. So Freddie Blassie and TJP there. So I've got Oscar and Freddie Blassie. I wonder when the last one is. You open up the last one now. Oh wow!
Oh wow!
That's cool.
Not as cool as mine.
Well, I've got a wanted Cactus Jack T-shirt, yeah. Which I've always wanted. But Dan, what have you got?
I have got a Bruiserweight T-shirt, Pete Dunne, to the bitter end.
To the bitter end. So I know you're a huge fan of Pete Dunne. Now you can wear the British superstar in style, Dan. What do you think of that? Well, gosh almighty.
Well, I must have been a very good boy this year for Father Christmas to empty his sack in such splendour.
Yeah, and it's great. Thank you, St. Nick, and for WWE for sending us the Bobby Roode thing. But Oscar, yeah, I'm very pleased that Oscar, Cactus Jack, and Freddie Blassie. I mean, that is a good whole, I would say.
The things that my Randy Orton cuddle buddy and my Alexa Bliss Teddy are going to do together. It's going to be.
I mean, I'm not having a go at Santa Claus, but I wouldn't mind it to be. I wouldn't mind if it was life sized. You know what I mean? And maybe had a hole somewhere to keep my things. But no, honestly, thank you, Santa Claus. That was very nice, and that is our Christmas presents. Don't forget, you can listen to our podcast and open up your presents at the same time and see what you got. See what you want for Christmas. I got what I wanted, and Dan, did you get what you wanted for Christmas?
I did indeed, yes. I got an Alexa Bliss toy and some very, very nice T-shirts as well.
To add to your growing wrestling T-shirt collection?
Yes, I have a vast wrestling T-shirt collection, and it is gonna ever be growing. I think yours is bigger than mine, though. Mine
is bigger, but Dan, it's not about the size; it's what you do with it. So I've got my Christmas jumper on here today. Dan, you're not very Christmassy at the moment, are you?
It's red and white. I mean, they are that is the father. That is the colour of Father Christmas, or Mr. Christmas, or Person Christmas if it's gender neutral.
Yeah, I mean, you could have a Ricochet versus Pete Dunne match. I mean,
I can indeed, yes.
And what a shit-up match that would be. But no, it's the presents for today. So I think there's only one thing left. We've done a bit of news. We've done new content on the network. We're doing a song. Can I sing a song, Dan?
If you do it now, James, I'll break every bone in your body, including mine.
Okay, well, okay. We'll move on then. And I think it's time. Drum roll, please. For the WNR Awards 2018, the 4th Annual WNR Awards. So hi, welcome everybody to the 4th Annual WNR Awards, here live at the WNR Christmas Cottage in an undisclosed location for the 4th year in a row. Please welcome your hosts, James Rowlands and Dan White.
Hello everybody.
Well, hello, and it's great to be here, the 4th Annual Awards, and what a year we've had,
James, you do realise, us standing at these plinths, they can't even see us, so why did you buy these expensive plinths? I mean, these look like the ones that they use at the Oscars.
Do you know, I had to loan them from the Oscars. It did cost me an arm and a leg, but I think it's cool.
The wrestling Oscar or the Oscar?
No, so the Oscar, yeah. To be fair, Oscar would win an Oscar if she could. But no, we're here. We've got the setting here. Yes, we maybe should have had an audience, but there you go. We'll move on maybe in years to come. There's not a lot of room here in the cottage. But yes, the WNR Awards. The most prestigious awards maybe in entire of professional wrestling. Everybody refers to the WNR Awards when thinking about certain things throughout the years, you know. Who was James's one to watch in 2015? People I hear ask, mainly most days as well. We've ran through the WNR Awards here on the podcast, but of course we are getting ready for the 2018 ones. And Dan, you have thought long and hard about these awards, haven't you? Has it been difficult to pick this year?
It has been very difficult, yes.
I feel with me this year, 2018, some of the awards were very easy to hand out, and some of them were maybe a little bit difficult. But what we'll do, we'll run through the awards that we're going to give away, of course, and then we'll just, we'll in description why we've picked them, not just because they're our picks for. With Match of the Year and other things like that as well, we might have different nominations maybe for the actual awards. Start the 4th Annual WNR Awards, Dan. What category would you want to start with?
Let's start with underrated.
Underrated. So one of the WNR old school awards. We've got a couple of new awards that are going to pop up, and we'll tell you all about them. But we are starting off with underrated for 2018. So Dan, why don't you get us started?
Anderson. I've had a look back and seen some of his Bullet Club stuff, and I thought he was absolutely brilliant in the Bullet Club. And there was a lot of hype about the club joining WWE, and I just think Carl Anderson he's a brilliant in-ring performer, and he's underutilised and definitely underrated. Yeah,
and it must be good for you to see them on SmackDown recently. Finally back with his single runs for him, or just the kind of tag team at the moment?
The tag team in general, you've got kind of the big guy and you've got the smaller guy, but, as talented as he is, Carl Anderson is, he's one of these ones that can get a hot tag in, just clean house and just be an absolute badass. Yeah,
without a shadow of a doubt. That's a good pick for underrated. I have gone for Kalisto in 2018. Kalisto / most of the 205 Live division. We had a really great discussion about this, about the state of 205 Live maybe kind of being chronically underrated. I think Kalisto maybe is a guy, doesn't get enough credit, maybe in part of someone like Rey Mysterio being back now. I think there's a lot of stuff Kalisto can do in the ring, a lot of other guys can't do, and I think fans can get behind him as well. I think he's a great wrestler, and in that Mustafa Ali role that's been taken on SmackDown, Kalisto maybe could have played it as well. Do you know what I mean? And I think Kalisto definitely deserves a chance. Former United States champion, former NXT Tag Team champion. Kalisto could do it all, and I think he's been misused a little bit. I like Lucha House Party, but I think Kalisto can go on to bigger and better things. So he's my underrated of 2018. So we'll move on next, and we'll go one to watch for 2019. All right, so my one to watch for 2018 is none other than Lars Sullivan. Again, a pretty obvious choice if you think about it. He is being built up on the the vignettes that we've seen. He's coming to Raw and SmackDown. He's going to be a big deal. Vince McMahon loves guys his side. If you can sort out, if he can, have a good attitude outside the ring. Some stories have said it's not been great, and his opinions need to keep to himself. And he does the right things. I think we've seen enough of Lars Sullivan in NXT to realise he's not a bad worker with the right opponent, and I think he's going to have a great 2019, whether I'd have picked him or not. Do you know what I mean? I think he's going to be undefeated the majority of 2019 and be in big time feuds as well for championships. Dan, who's your one to watch?
Mine is the Velveteen Dream. He's had some brilliant matches, not necessarily always on the winning end of those matches, but again, winning or losing, he's been absolutely brilliant. And, when he eventually gets called up to the main roster, the things that he can do with his character are absolutely phenomenal. And I think, he's just going to keep building steam and, eventually turn into a huge star.
Yeah, I think without a shadow of a doubt, Velveteen Dream is a great pick. Is a guy, again, who just has looked great on NXT after kind of, being dobbed out or not knowing. Ever since the Ali B kind of feud and Say My Name, he's been a different guy. And that match with Ciampa at TakeOver, weren't expecting anything, really delivered. Like you say, he's kind of got the kind of, It's like Gold Dust, but like main event level Gold Dust in that way. I really feel with Velveteen Dream, much like Lars Sullivan, they can go all the way in WWE if used correctly. I think there's kind of mystique about the Dream as well. He's still only like 23 years old, which is incredibly, young, and so much more experience to gain as well. So that's Dream and Lars Sullivan. So next award, Dan.
Let's go for Move of the Year.
Oh, it's quite a big one. Move of the year. Who have you gone for?
Mine, it's a kind of a double header, but they bunch together really well, and that is the Tarantula Powerbomb / Superplex at War Games, followed by the Ricochet Double Moonsault. I mean, I know the Ricochet Double Moonsault, it didn't completely hit its mark, TARDIS, but it was a very, very impressive move nonetheless. And again, it's, kind of pushing the bounds of what people can do in ring.
Oh, without a doubt. And it's been a pleasure to watch Ricochet this year take at NXT, being treated so well and having these kind of big match moments as well, like I say. My move of the year is not a grand move like yours is. It's not kind of setup. It's just a move that every time I see it, I absolutely love it. Now, I wonder if you can guess what my move of the year is. What move do I always pop for?
King Shasha.
No. Once I tell you, you'll know. The Tyler Bate springboard off the top rope, bang into a clothesline. I fucking love that move. It's like I don't know if it's a video game type move. I don't know how he does it. I've not seen it before done in that way. I always go crazy, and it's not even like kind of signature move. It's kind of like even meant to the comeback. That's got to be my move of the year. Again, Reverse Hurricane is a great move, but we've seen it in the past with Bate. When he delivers it, you kind of know, oh my god, what a move that is. So I've got to say Bate with the clothesline off the rope. I'm sure it's got an official move, but I just can't find it yet. All right, so a couple of new awards. We move on to Manager of the Year. We've added Manager. We've added a couple others, actually, which one of them probably start an argument soon. But we'll get onto that in a minute. So Manager of the Year, and it's my pick, and Dan's going to hate me for it. My Manager of the Year is Lio Rush. Lio Rush is my Manager of the Year. Let me explain. So I know he's a wrestler. I know he works on 205 Live. I know he's an athlete in his own right. He's annoying as fuck. And he the only thing saving Lashley at the moment is Lio Rush. Kind of been so annoying, so smarmy, and everything like that. It's kind of made Lashley's character a little bit more entertaining. And at least he's listening to Lio Rush as well. Rush is doing the correct thing as a manager. Lashley is listening to what Rush is saying. Rush is the one giving out instructions. Lashley is the one following through, which is the way it should work as well. So that's why I picked Lio Rush. Dan, who's your Manager of the Year?
It's the Singh brothers.
Ooh.
Just simply for the amount of beatings them poor bastards take week in, week out. I mean, they've been hit with so many different finishers, it's unbelievable. And, they haven't had a match since the Cruiserweight Classic.
Yeah, it's been that long.
But, they've been injured, they've been turned inside out by Randy Orton. I know that wasn't last, it's F5, they've been suplexed, folded in half.
That German suplex across the ring, laying down on the neck, didn't he? That was sickening. No, I like the Singh brothers. They do deserve a lot more, but they're the Manager of the Year. So what's the next award, Dan?
Well, again, we go on to one of our new ones, and that is Announcer.
Oh. All right, who's your Announcer of the Year?
Well, mine, it's two. One of them, and it is a guy that I know very well. My friend Nigel McGuinness. Because his unique take on things, I think he's very good, and plus I could do a very good impersonation of him. And also Renee Young, she's came into that position and she stepped up well. She's you kind of heard the back and forth between her and Corey Graves over the Dean Ambrose situation.
She's grown into that, isn't she?
She has indeed. I mean, we was blessed with Stephanie McMahon announcing for the Women's Royal Rumble match. You're like, oh wow, how can we top that? Well, they put Renee Young into that position, and she's become a permanent fixture well deserved as well.
Yeah, and you took one of mine were Renee Young as well for the exact same reason. So Renee Young's definitely one of the announcers of the year. My other one is Mauro Ranallo. Not
Oh, for fuck's sake!
not to cause an argument, but his excitement and level to bring arguments for it. There's not been announced on that in quite a while. He brings the kind of JR raw emotion to an NXT event, which adds to it. And everything he does with a passion. Whereas you don't like him or you do, he's passionate about it and he likes wrestling. And he's a great announcer. I know I've listened to Vanilla the last couple of years, and I think he deserves to be announcer of the year, especially for his work on NXT this year. Dan, do you agree with that?
No,
you don't. You don't. Right? Well, he's the announcer. Up next, then, another new award, and we'll do Referee of the Year.
got it, James.
No, I was about to say, my Referee of the Year is Jessica Carr. Of course it is. Jess Carr has been great. Young Classic. Did a great job, and is now part of NXT. And, you know, the great thing you can say about referees is that no one notices her. And no one notices them. And you can hardly, you know, you only realise when you look around, oh, fucking hell, Jess Carr's doing this one. She nothing wrong, you know, everything right. A great referee who deserves maybe a chance on the main roster in a couple of years' time, you know, because she's that good as well. Dan, who's your ref?
Yes, you know, I also agree with you on Jessica Carver. I've had to go for a personal favourite of mine. None other than Mini Ric Flair himself, Charles Robinson. And after seeing a little documentary of him on the internet, about him not only being a referee, but he's in charge of setting up everything in the ring area, from the ring to the Titantron to, you know, all the barricades and everything like that. And, you know, for a man who has been about for at least 20 years.
At least 25.
You know, he's a brilliant constant figure, and he doesn't look like he's aging.
Yeah, that's true. He looks as young as he does. We've seen him 20 years ago. Looks exactly the same. He really does. And a fair play to Charles Robinson getting that award. But for me, Jess Carr. Move on to another new award. I think most hated. Because we were talking about who is the most hated in, either in the wrestling world or who do we hate. Now, I've only really got one to pick. And I'm going to pick him, even though I am starting to feel a little bit sorry for him, to be fair, because I've not seen him in a while, and it's a damn shame, you know. I've even been checking Main Event out, and he's not been making that, which is a shame. So I've gone for Mojo, soon to be released, Rawley, as my most hated wrestler. My most hated. As for the internet, I don't care, you hate everybody, don't you? So, Dan, who have you gone for?
Well, mine is split between two cunts, and that is Adam Cole and Mike Kanellis. There are a lot of honourable mentions: Shayna Baszler, Matt Riddle, James Rowlands, Leo Rush. But, you know, I think these two guys, for starters, I don't get what everyone sees in them. You know, I've seen nothing whatsoever impressive that either of these guys have ever done in the ring.
I disagree with you with Adam Cole. I think you know Adam Cole's delivered good in the ring. You even admitted to that when we talked about War Games with him starting off and impressing you as well, and the stuff with Ricochet. Adam Cole is a good worker. You just set your stall out early and you can't change it now. As for Mike Kanellis, I've not really seen much that impressed me from. Matt Riddle's another guy that I'll probably start liking in 2019. Apart from, you know, old wrestlers, someone like Mongo or Conan for me, it's got to be Mojo, but I think they're last of the dying breeds. You know, we've got rid of Enzo Big Cass this year. I think Mojo's next. You know, there's not a lot of guys left. It's soon WWE roster should just be great wrestlers as opposed to guys taking up spots. You know, but who's the next award, Dan? What's the next award?
We go on to RKO of the year. One of my favourite awards.
Who you gone for then? I've obviously Randy Orton, but against whom?
On Bobby Roode at Fastlane to win the United States Championship. And again, you know, because previously I've been going for ones that have truly been coming out of nowhere, but deep down I knew this one was going to happen. And Randy Orton hit Bobby Roode with the RKO to pin James's man and win the US Championship and give it a decent home for a brief period of time until Jinder Mahal beat him for it.
Yeah, exactly. The following fucking month, and no one cared about it. Randy Orton ruined the US title.
But not only that, James, it was the final jewel in Randy Orton's gauntlet of Infinity Stones. I mean, that completed everything. He completed with that.
Well, my RKO of the year is actually one that's not got a more kind of meaning to it. It's just really cool. 24th of November 2018, and it's Rey Mysterio. Mysterio came back and he'd been using the baseball slide outside the ring to use it on different opponents, and I noticed he'd been using it every single match, and I said to Dan, I'm getting a bit bored of this, see what happens. It one too many times on Randy Orton. As he comes sliding out, boom, Randy Orton hit it perfectly. And I don't usually pop for RKOs, but I thought that was a great one, and that's why it's my RKO of the year. Okay, so another new award, Internet Darling. Now, this is the one who we think the fans love more, no matter what happens or what they do. Someone the fans will always be behind. My one might be, I don't know, people might have a go at me for this, but Finn Balor is my pick for Internet Darling. It just seems that Finn Balor is the fans' favourite. Oh, he should get another Universal title shot. Oh, he should get this. He should get that. Oh, he's not being booked right. Oh, it's just not right. And yet, are they the one buying his merchandise? Are they the one making him the biggest seller merchandise-wise at WWE? No, they're not doing that. Is he putting more asses in seats? Probably not doing that. You know, is he getting the used right? Probably not. But again, will he be the guy to run WWE in the future? And I think that the internet are firmly behind Finn Balor. There's a few of them that they really, really like, but I think Balor's the one that he's got a massive internet following as well. Dan, who have you gone for?
I've gone for Seth Rollins. Again, you know, he's got a huge fan base. Everyone loves him. Everyone wants to see him kind of becoming WWE champion or Universal champion. And you know, he is a very good performer, and there is a lot of reason why people are behind him.
Yeah. I think without a shadow of a doubt, you know, I can understand why you have gone Seth Rollins there as well.
Holy shit, one good.
All right, so we've got holy shit moments. We've got a good one, a bad one. We're going to start off with good. Dan, what are your good? What's good?
What's good? And it's not only what happened, but it's the reaction from what happened as well. And that is Titus World Slide at the Greatest Royal Rumble. And not only that, but Corey Graves absolutely losing his shit, and he couldn't even call anything for the next 5 minutes after that. And memes that followed it as well. It was probably the funniest thing I've seen for a long, long time. You know, it's kind of like a shockmaster of today.
Without a doubt. It was one of those moments in time you couldn't believe you're actually watching it. You're like, that is a meme there forever. And like I said, it was holy shit. It was like, holy shit, where the fuck did he go? Yeah, it's like, what the fuck? Anybody who hasn't seen it, I'm sure everybody has seen it more than once. It's fucking brilliant. My one was a bit more personal, because mine was good, was Asuka finally winning the women's title at TLC. For me, that moment, holy shit, they fucking finally did it after thinking they're going to waste it with Asuka. I don't care the circumstances. I don't care if Ronda Rousey cost Charlotte and Becky Lynch. I care about Asuka winning that title and finally having that moment on top. And if they do it right, they can, you know, really have a great champion there. That's why it's my great holy shit. I couldn't believe they finally went with Asuka. Fair play to Asuka for winning the women's title. That's my holy shit good. My holy shit bad, on the other hand, let me take a breath. Right. There can only be one massive steaming pile of shit on the floor that is this year. They come very close in April, but they finally achieved it in November. My holy shit bad is the entire dual event. What a fucking clusterfuck of shitness and twats. It was the worst event ever. If we were doing a worst paper of the year, it would have been mine with a 4. I think you gave it a 5 out of 10 as well. Nothing good came from it. Nothing. It's 3 hours of my life I will never get back, and I hate WWE for it. Dan, what about you?
was Roman Reigns. The announcement of him coming out, as Joe, and, just the shock of what he'd come out with saying as well. It was probably a moment that no one wants to hear. If you love him or you hate him, everyone was kind of united in, oh my fucking God, that you wouldn't even wish it on a wrestler that you can't stand.
Yeah, you wouldn't even, not even on Adam Cole or
No.
Mike Kanellis, and it's an awful thing. And yeah, like I said, holy shit, it's just unimaginable what Roman Reigns has gone through and what he is going to go through as well. And like you said, Dan, it's a really good choice, really thoughtful, especially this time of year, to be close to your family and just love them, because you never know what could happen. And this is the crazy thing about Christmas, that we all get together and celebrate it as a family. And those that can't, make sure you try and find someone. If there's no one like that, make sure you're not alone around Christmas either. Yeah, shit, that turned it around a little bit, didn't we? Let's cheer it up. Tweet the year then, Dan. Shall we go tweet the year? Or is it your choice?
Yeah. Well, James,
I'm going to start crying in a minute. So
I'm going to go for tweet of the year. And it's not a specific tweet. It is pretty much anything by Becky Lynch. She has absolutely owned everyone on Twitter, from Corey Graves to Ronda Rousey. I mean, anyone that just comes up against her on Twitter, you might as well just get a spade out and start digging.
Yeah. Without a shadow of a doubt, Becky Lynch is the best. My tweet was from Becky Lynch, because, like I said, it could have picked out anything. The one I picked out was Becky Lynch, November 14th. She tweeted, "You gave me your best sucker punch, but I destroy your whole roster. They won't let me fight, but I'll get back up from that too. It's what I do. So enjoy your one free shot, because as bad as my memory is now, I haven't forgotten you, bitch." I mean, that breeds excitement on a tweet. Becky Lynch so fucking over. Just fantastic on social media. Like you said, Dan, it's added a layer to her character, hasn't it? So that's what social media has actually been able to achieve this year,
It has indeed, yes.
So I'm saying Lynch as well for of the year. I think it's been brilliant. All right, a bit of controversial one then. Overrated.
Go on then, James.
I'm going to piss off the entire internet now, because my overrated is Finn Balor.
Mark Tardis, I had no idea he was going to say this. This is James, and James is only his thoughts. And I'll leave him to deal with the consequences, but this has nothing to do with me, Mark.
Finn Balor is overrated. What was the last great Finn Balor match?
James, you fight your battles, mate.
No, I'm asking. Would you remember the last great Finn Balor match that you had? Maybe a multi-man match, maybe with rules involved, and before that probably another multi-man match, and probably that. Apart from his match versus AJ Styles last year, what has Finn Balor really delivered on pay-per-view? Yes, he's been feuding with Baron Corbin these past 12 months. Still should get something maybe entertaining about of it. I don't get Finn Balor. I know he's going to get a kind of monster push or whatever it is now, but the demon character I understand, but Finn Balor hasn't achieved his goals, or he's not set out his goals. He's not come out and said he wants to be Universal Champion. He's almost like he's come out and said, I'm happy to be here. I'm going to have this smile on my face and just do what I want to do, as opposed to kind of fighting down and wanting to be the guy. I know he suffered the injury, and I know he was just Universal Champion, and that was a setback, but you have to come back to that, because if Balor's not careful, he's going to end up like Dolph Ziggler, always on the peripheral, never getting the main event picture again. And does Balor really want to do that? He's a talent. We saw it in NXT and on the independents in Prince Devitt, who could go around the world having great matches. We need to see kind of more hunger and more desire from Balor, and stop kind of being a smiley kind of baby face and kind of being a bit more serious. And I think with that, that's why I think he's overrated. There's nothing I see here that, any other guy, like Velveteen Dream. I think Velveteen Dream's better than Finn Balor. That's what I'm going to say. I think there's a lot of guys like that, Dan. So bring it on. Anybody who wants to complain to me about that, bring it on. Dan, who's your overrated?
Well, James, it is a toss-up between four people. And that is Mike Kanellis. I think, all this power of love shite and having fucking Maria in his corner and just shit wrestling. Shayna Baszler, which you've kind of started to come around on as well. And again, you know, she came in looking to be this fucking badass. Turned out it wasn't. She needs help to win matches. I mean, if that kind of kicks UFC right in the cunt, I don't know what does. Brock Lesnar, for obvious reasons, I don't need to say anymore. And Matt Riddle as well. I mean, some stupid little stoner fuck coming in, kicking his stupid fucking flip-flops off in the fucking ring. Coming, yo, bro, I made my day, but, man, I kind of get off on fucking saying things wrong. And fucking bro, fucking bro. And yes, James, you may notice that I've left a few names off of that list of people that I hate, but...
So who's the most overrated, Dan? You've got to pick one. Pick one.
I'm going to go with Shayna Baszler.
No. So Baszler is the most overrated, the NXT Women's Champion. So who's the next award then, Dan?
The next award is a favourite, and it is the Johnny Gargano Award for most punishment taken in a match.
So who have you gone for 2018?
I have gone for, besides AJ Styles' nuts, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa.
Right, okay.
Because they've beaten the shit out of, you know, from their unsanctioned match that they had to, you know, every other match that they've been involved in, and especially having Aleister Black thrown into that mix as well. I mean, you know, they've just taken a lot of punishment throughout the year. But again, you know, that unsanctioned match with the fucking DDTs on the exposed floor and just everything. So, you know, the pair of them, they just rip the most shit out of each other.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. That is most matches that I've seen. But I think the most vicious match this year was at War Games. And my Johnny Gargano Award for the most punishment taken in the match goes to Hanson. Now, Hanson suffered broken ribs, a ruptured spleen, and torn ligaments in the War Games match. So, therefore, he wins the Johnny Gargano Award for most punishment taken in the match. He's 3 different injuries.
So, next year, will it be the Hanson Award?
No, it'll be the Hanson Appreciation Award for... No, it will still be the Johnny Gargano Award for most punishment taken in the match, but Hanson does win 2018. So, well done, Hanson, and Johnny Gargano has won the award with Tommaso Ciampa for you as well. Let's do entrance. Entrance of the year, Dan. I have gone for... My entrance of the year is when I was most excited. Now, as you can tell from the past WNR Christmas presents and now, I'm a huge fan of Asuka, without a shadow of a doubt. And what I thought would be a crowning achievement would be WrestleMania when she faced Charlotte. And her coming out in her entrance there, where you saw the big Asuka mask and the crowd support for her. It was a big fight feel. The streak was on the line. I thought it was Asuka's chance to get the job done. It was disappointing, but that entrance for me coming out, the way she did it, the goosebumps I had, was probably, is my favourite entrance of the year. So Asuka at WrestleMania.
Well, James, mine also took place at WrestleMania, but mine was Shinsuke fucking Nakamura. And, you know, he'd won my entrance award previously for the violins, but this one was also accompanied by Nita Strauss, and he had pretty much a live band. He had drums and everything, and Strauss absolutely killed it. She shredded it on that axe. You know, she was absolutely brilliant and just completely smashed his entrance and made it absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, without a doubt, and we watched that, didn't we, the other day? And I think this is what's letting WrestleMania down, and I think that's why I enjoyed SummerSlam more than WrestleMania this year, is because we had the Royal Rumble winners, like Asuka and Nakamura, both of ours. We had the entrants coming out. They should have both won their title matches to make a moment. We're only talking about their entrances. Maybe it could have been matches of the year if they, got the job done. Too much eggnog for me there. So, good entrance of the year.
This one is comeback of the year.
So who's your comeback of the year, Dan? Is it Kane?
No, it is the Big Show during the bars. No.
Say mine.
The look on your face. No, mine. There's only one person that came back this year, and that is Daniel fucking Bryan. I mean, to come back from a potential career-ending injury and, you know, come back and just have match after match after match, and even then, to have a heel turn right after that, to come back to such a roaring ovation, to have all the fans booing at you at the end of the year. I mean, it is just an absolute perfect comeback.
Yeah, I've been on as well, but it's Daniel Bryan turning heel. Like, when he did come back, I think WWE office, people backstage weren't really sure if he was 100% or not. The kind of babyface Bryan wasn't, the yes movement wasn't as strong as it was in yesteryear, was it? But like I said, the heel turn, the change of character. This is Daniel Bryan back to his best now, delivering in ring. What a great match he had against AJ Styles. What a fantastic match against Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series as well. That kind of glint in his eyes, the way the character works. Calling himself the new Daniel Bryan as well. I think the comeback is especially on. Who would have predicted at the start of the year that Daniel Bryan was going to be WWE champion by year end? It's quite an achievement in itself. So Daniel Bryan does get comeback. All right, so we're going to have a new award again, and this time it's a great one that we had. We never had it really on the WNR before, but we are. It is going to be the Lifetime Achievement Award. Someone in WNR that we've watched, maybe someone we didn't know a lot about, someone maybe we did and doesn't get enough credit. So my Lifetime Achievement Award this year goes to Alex Wright. Alex Wright wins Lifetime Achievement. I mean...
Is it just Alex Wright or a specific part of
Well, let me
Alex
get
Wright?
on to that. Alex Wright kind of sprang into my life a couple of years ago. I know, anybody that doesn't know the story about Alex Wright, he debuted in WCW as the Wonder Kid in 1994. Was going to look to be the next kind of big star of that division. But due to Hulk Hogan and friends coming in, he kind of fell down the card and was used predominantly as a cruiserweight and then kind of a jobber. And we're seeing him now in 1998. He's feuding with the European wrestlers, but he's not really been used that well, is he, But there is one, like you said, Dan, standout part to an Alex Wright match. And this part deserves a Lifetime Achievement Award. I mean, we all know what it is. It's the elephant in the room. It's an elephant down his trunks, basically. Anybody watches an Alex Wright match will notice one thing, and that is his gigantic penis. Alex Wright penis. I mean, the guy wrestles well. But, I mean, his penis wrestles better than him, you know what I mean? It's like having a tag team partner, He
is the early day equivalent.
No, yeah, but even that, like, Joey Ryan uses his, but, I mean, Alex Wright's is a deadly weapon, And I think he's a great worker, and I think the personality, the dancing back in the day to get people get so annoyed with you, I think is very clever. He knew what he was doing. He looked like a gay German porn star, and that's what the fans could have got behind, and I think we could have seen a lot more about that as well with Alex Wright. I think fantastic guy. He's still working W Performance Centre now, isn't he, training the young guys. Of course, can't do a hammerlock anymore just because he gets in trouble for sexual offences, but there's a lot of other stuff he can do. So Alex Wright is my Lifetime Achievement Award for 2018. Dan?
Mine goes to a man with a voice so beautiful it could put me to sleep. And that is Mean Gene Okerlund. He is a WWE legend, Hall of Famer, and just an all-round good guy. He is probably my favourite announcer / interviewer, the moments that he's had. And, I wish he was my granddad.
Yeah, I mean, Mean Gene is a legend, and it's a bit sad what's happening, but like age makes mortals of us all. But Mean Gene's work throughout the years will be remembered, and quite rightly deserves Dan's Life Award this year. And of course, Alex Wright and his penis, along with Mean Gene Okerlund, will be going into the WNR Hall of Fame. So there we go. Welcome to these two.
The first two, or the three.
The first three, yeah. First three in the Hall of Fame. Alex Wright, his penis, and of course Mean Gene Okerlund into the WNR Hall of Fame for 2018. So now we're getting quite big ones left. Let's get through a couple. So we've got...
Well, we move on to Better Off Last Year.
And who have you gone for? Who was better off last year than they are now, Dan?
Banks and Bailey. You know, they had some very good matches, groundbreaking matches last year, and this year they've kind of nearly had a feud, but didn't quite, and now they're best friends, and, you know, they just kind of seem to be pushed into the back shadow, you know, behind Charlotte, Becky, Asuka, even Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax have kind of had more standout moments, you know, and underutilised, underappreciated, and, you know, of James's Wrestler of the Year, the one-time winner of my Wrestler of the Year, and, you know, they've just kind of fallen flat and silent.
Yeah, I think without shadow of a doubt leads to grossly underused talents on Monday Night Raw. Create a women's tag team division for them, for fuck's sake. Give them something to do, you know, as opposed to just giving them anything. It is a real shame what's happening there. Mine is a tag team, and hopefully this turns around in 2019. Maybe there are already signs of it. But I think it's just completely useless for this tag team. The Revival. What the fuck did they accomplish in 2018? Absolutely nothing. There was no point of the year. Jobbing out to the B team and other tag teams like that. You kept them down in NXT for another year and have great matches against, you know, the Undisputed Era or Lorcan and Birch or, you know, Mustache Mountain and people like that. I feel they're really missing a trick with the Revival on Raw. If they've been on SmackDown now, imagine the wars they could have with the Usos and the New Day and the Bar. They need to sort it out. The Revival need to be kind of in position on Raw. They've had great matches with Authors of Pain before. They're on Raw. Make it work out. The Revival need a much better 2019. I think they were much better off last year before this, the move up even happened. Well, the weather outside is frightful, but inside it's so...
James, shut the fuck up.
Sake, I will sing a song by the end. Alright, let's continue WNR Awards, and most improved, my pick is, the only one I think can be this year, is Ronda Rousey. She is so with only 12 months experience in professional wrestling. She has delivered great matches near enough every time. Against Nia Jax twice when people think she couldn't do it. She really delivered well. You know, quick match at SummerSlam against Bliss, but got the job done. And, you know, we've seen at WrestleMania when she made a debut, you know, in the tag team match against Stephanie Triple H. She looked awesome in it. And if she can continue working in, you know, her ring is improving. She needs to work on the character outside the ring and her promos and stuff like that. But for someone with so little experience, I can only think of maybe Kurt Angle's had a better first year than Ronda Rousey. She's been working house shows. She's been, you know, on the television, so you can't say she's like Brock Lesnar. And she seems to really care and give it her all every time. Dan, who is your most improved for 2018?
This one has been quite a tough award for me, and I think, you know, there's a couple of awards it could go to, and it's not kind of an improved such, but it's kind of a resurgence. And that is Becky Lynch turning into a complete and utter badass. I mean, you know, just all the memes she has, you know, turning into the man. And, you know, she has come into this role, but I think it goes to Daniel Bryan.
So it's not Lynch.
No. It was very nearly Becky Lynch, but Daniel Bryan, I think, you know, his comeback and, you know, just completely changing himself, turning him into, like, you know, when CM Punk was a straight edge superstar, you know, kind of like the straight edge vegan.
Yeah, right.
And, you know, it's just given him a lot more to do, and I think, you know, that is absolutely brilliant for Daniel Bryan.
I doubt Daniel Bryan's kind of been one of the happiest stories that we've had this year. So it's the award.
Tag team.
Tag team. Oh, all right. So who is your tag team of 2018?
Well, there is two and one. And that is Lorcan and Birch. Absolutely love these guys. They are two brilliant performers. And, you know, again, they kind of went from fighting against each other to joining forces and just becoming an absolute badass of a team. I think they deserve a lot more, but, you know, I think they're just kind of finding their feet and The fans absolutely love them, and I absolutely love them, and I'm sure you absolutely love them as well, James.
Without a shadow of a doubt, you talk about what tag teams we love this year, and Lorcan and Birch stand out. I mean, you've got to shout out to Mustache Mountain. Fucking brilliant start of the year. What a match they had against Undisputed Era to win the NXT Tag Team titles. Hopefully, there'll be a lot of fun NXT UK, when they're around there. We've got build up a tag team division on there. Undisputed Era as well have been great this year. Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly have made a really great tag team, the two of them. When they're in action, they can do stuff really, really well. But yeah, Lorcan and Birch, I think, two teams.
I'd also like a shout out for Heavy Machinery as well.
Heavy Machinery, yeah, I mean, they're getting called up to the main roster as well. I mean, that was a bit of news, wasn't it, that we had about the 6 guys. We had Heavy Machinery coming up. Lars Sullivan, we knew. Nikki Cross. And there was Lacey Evans and EC3. So they're coming up to the main roster. So, I mean, EC3 will do well anyway. But like I said, we've got to look out for them. And I think Lorcan and Birch, tag team maybe weren't, together last year. And it was the wars they had in the ring kind of gave respect. And, I mean, they're just so much fun, just so hard-hitting. And, credit not only to Danny Birch, but obviously to Only Lorcan as well. There's only one Only Lorcan. And absolutely brilliant they were. And the 1-2, they definitely deserve to be Tag Team of the Year for the WNR. So we've only got the big ones left now. We've only got match, men, pay-per-view, and women. And we're going to do that in that order, I feel. So, match of the year. Now, we keep a note of the pay-per-view ratings and, of course, what matches of the night that we had at the pay-per-views. So I think it's only fair that we consider the 12 matches that we've got as matches of the night to actually be, as part of it. Plus, I've got a couple other standout matches as well. All right, so match of the year. We'll just run through our matches of the night at each pay-per-view. So they're all at NXT TakeOver in
Philly!
I went for Cien Gargano.
I also went for Cien Gargano.
In the Royal Rumble match, I went Women's Rumble.
I also went Women's Rumble.
Women's Chamber.
Also Women's Chamber.
Fastlane Rude versus Orton.
Also Rude versus Orton.
NXT New Orleans Ciampa versus Gargano.
Also went for Ciampa Gargano.
What did you keep copying me for? We had Brian and Shane versus KOZ. Who the fuck are KOZ?
Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
Oh, there we go. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus Brian and Shane.
I also went for that match as well.
Backlash, Miz versus Rollins.
Also that one.
NXT Chicago, Ciampa versus Gargano.
Also that one.
In the Bank, AJ versus Nakamura.
Also that one.
Extreme Rules, Ziggler versus Seth.
Ha! I went for Seth versus Ziggler.
Ciampa Gargano, NXT Brooklyn 4.
Also that.
Miz versus Bryan at SummerSlam.
Also that.
So at Hell in a Cell, I went McIntyre and Ziggler versus the Shield.
And I went Randy Orton versus Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, that was a great match, though. I'll give credit to that. It was twisting his earlobe, wasn't he, and stuff like this. At Super Showdown, the Cruiserweight title match, which was Buddy Murphy versus Cedric Alexander.
And I went for the Shield versus Dogs of War.
At Evolution, the last women's standing match was mine.
I also went for the last women's standing match.
Ziggler versus Seth.
I also went for Seth versus Ziggler.
NXT War Games, Gargano versus Ali B.
I also went for Gargano versus Ali B.
Survivor Series was Bryan v Lesnar.
I went for Rousey versus Charlotte Flair.
And then TLC, Oscar in a TLC match.
And I also went for the same as well.
So if I look at my short list from that, I have got 4 matches that really stand out. One that we haven't mentioned is Io Shirai versus Toni Storm at Evolution in the Mae Young Classic final. Lynch versus Flair from Evolution, the main event, of course. Oscar versus Charlotte versus Lynch at TLC. Those 3 were really, really close. But I've picked my match of the year. Dan, who do you want to announce it first?
Well, James, I went for Ciampa versus Gargano at NXT New Orleans in that unsanctioned match. That was just absolutely fucking brutal.
I too have gone Gargano Ciampa NXT TakeOver New Orleans as my match of the year as well. That was the other match. There's my little list there. That's the match that I went for. Don't get me wrong, the Chelsea match was awesome, but just everything that Gargano Ciampa match that first time round just felt right. And like I think I don't want to ruin what the pay-per-view score for that was awesome as well. But that match really stood out. And I got it's just everything you wanted in the feud match, didn't you? After all that time, all that hatred, Ciampa Gargano, and they just left everything in the ring. It lasted about 40 minutes, didn't it? It was absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
Anything else about your match of the year, Dan?
No, it was just an absolute perfect match. Both the guys completely tore the house down and just tore the ring area apart as well.
So we move on to Male Wrestler of the Year. Your Male Wrestler of the Year. Now, I've got some nominees, Dan, so should I announce my nominees and see what you think?
Yeah, I've got a few nominees as well.
Alright, so I'll start with my nominees. So I've got nominees Pete Dunne.
Pete Dunne.
Mm-hmm. Buddy Murphy.
Ali B.
I've got Ali B as well. Drew McIntyre.
Johnny Gargano.
Seth Rollins. Ricochet. AJ Styles.
Tommaso Ciampa.
And Becky Lynch. Because she is the man. They're on our list. So, rest of the year. Dan, who is your male wrestler of the year?
I have to give mine to Pete Dunne. He has held the WWE or the NXT UK Championship for 550 plus days. Been an absolute outstanding performer in every match he's had, and he just, I don't know, he's everything that is right with wrestling.
Yeah, Pete Dunne doesn't have a bad match, and you can look back at any of his matches in NXT UK, and they're all stunning matchups, and it's fantastic stuff to see. And Pete Dunne deservedly is the WNR's male wrestler, because I've gone Pete Dunne as well. Pete Dunne is awesome. Shout out to Seth Rollins. If we were doing these awards, I think Seth Rollins would have nicked it. But with the feud with Dean Ambrose kind of going downhill, Rollins really the past couple of months kind of slowed down. Not slowed down a little bit, it's just kind of not been the same. But Pete Dunne for me, yeah, he's excellent in everything that he does. And fair play with Pete Dunne, because out of everybody, yeah, he is the best. I don't get bored with Pete Dunne matches, and there's not many wrestlers that I get bored with, so I think that's definitely Pete Dunne as the male superstar of the year. Only 2 awards left, and they are 2 huge ones. First up, we're going to do pay-per-view of the year.
Yes, well, looking back at my ratings, I've given a few very good ratings.
Should we give out our ratings for all the entire event, or do you want to pick out the? I don't know what we're gonna.
Well, we start off giving our pay-per-view ratings for all the pay-per-views we've seen this year. The first one, NXT Philly. I gave that an 8.5.
Yeah, I gave that an 8 out of 10. The Royal Rumble, then I gave another 8 as well.
I gave that a 7.5.
Elimination Chamber, it was 8 for me.
8.5 for me. Fastlane, I gave that a 7.
Yeah, I gave that a 6.5. I wonder why, because Bobby Roode lost his US title match from that, or US title. NXT New Orleans, I gave it a 9 out of 10.
I gave that an 8.75. I think I was being a bit facetious there. WrestleMania, I gave a 7.5.
I gave WrestleMania an 8 out of 10, the granddaddy of them all. 7.5 for me.
I gave that a 7. NXT Chicago, I gave that an 8.5.
I also gave that 8.5. Money in the Bank was an 8 for me.
I gave that a 7.75.
I know, I hate when you do that.
Extreme Rules.
Extreme Rules, I gave that a 8 out of 10.
I gave that a 7.5 out of 10.
NXT Brooklyn 4, I gave that a 9.
I also gave that a 9.
Another 9 for me.
It was an 8.5 for me. Hell in a Cell was a 7.75.
Hell in a Cell was a 8 for me. Super Showdown was 7.5.
7.75 for me.
Evolution was a 9 for me.
That was an 8 for me. Crown Jewel.
Well, the biggest shit show in the world, wasn't it, 4.
I gave that a 5.
NXT War Games 8.5.
I gave that a 9.5.
Oh my god, you just got a perfect score after that, low. So Survivor Series 8.5 for me.
I gave that 8.25.
And then finally TLC, Dan.
8.5.
So 8.5. So with my reckoning, I have got NXT Brooklyn 4 as a 9. I've got Evolution as a 9, and I've got SummerSlam as a 9.
New Orleans.
And NXT New Orleans. So 2 NXT events, and I've got only one proper WWE pay-per-view, which was SummerSlam. So I'm going to work out my 4. Dad, do you want to give us your pay-per-view of the year?
Well, mine has to be NXT War Games. I mean, the first match, you can kind of shrug that off, where Matt Riddle beat Cassius Ohno in 6 seconds flat. The 2 out of 3 falls match, again, it wasn't the greatest of matches, but it wasn't terrible. Then you had 3 amazing matches, and I think I gave them all 5 out of 5s. Aleister Black going against Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa and Velveteen Dream, and the War Games match, which was Pete Dunne, Ricochet and War Raiders going against the Undeserving Era, which is Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, Handsome Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong. For me, it was an absolute perfect pay-per-view. You know, even if it did include Matt Riddle and Adam Cole.
Yeah, well, I've decided my pay-per-view of the year, and you know, NXT always do great events. That's no surprise. SummerSlam was good because it paid off. Stories. Ronda Rousey walked away as champion, so did Roman Reigns. It felt more WrestleMania than WrestleMania did for me this year. That's why I enjoyed that. But I've got to say, my pay-per-view of the year was on October 28th of this year. Yes, it might be my birthday, but it was WWE Evolution, the very first, women's only pay-per-view. On the undercard, which we didn't see, was Rhea Ripley defeating Dakota Kai for the NXT UK title match. We started off with Trish Stratus and Lita versus and defeating Mickie James and Alicia Fox in a tag team match, which was quite good actually. I really enjoyed that. Nia Jax won by last eliminating Ember Moon. Oscar got eliminated by Ember Moon there, but it actually told a story about that. Jax would go on to face Rousey at TLC, so that made sense. Tony Storm defeated Io Shirai and my chances of winning the Mae Young Classic 2018, which again was one of my matches of the year candidates. We had Sasha Banks and Bayley with Natalya defeating the Riot Squad in the 6 women tag team match. For me, I enjoyed that. That was good. Baszler defeating Sane pissed me off. Of course it did, but still a great match, and Sane is such a great character. Becky Lynch defeating Charlotte Flair in the last women's standing match, which, you know, you talk about match of the year, that is on our awards as well. The main event, Ronda Rousey defeating Nikki Bella by submission. Even that was entertaining. So I've got to say Evolution, for me, because it was different as well and it stood out, it's definitely my pay-per-view of the year. So you got NXT War Games, I've got Evolution. Are you happy with that choice?
I am very happy with my choice, yeah. And, you know, I do have to give props to Evolution. You know, even though it fell a day before my birthday, which, you know, as far as birthday events goes, it was an absolute shitstorm. And, you know, Crown Jewel, it was kind of unintentionally a man-only pay-per-view.
I haven't got Greatest Royal Rumble.
Rumble.
I knew you were going to say that, so I came prepared, Dan. You say that? Well, here we go. I got it. 7 out of 10 were the pay-per-view scores we both gave. You picked the Daniel Bryan's performance in the Royal Rumble was your match of the night, and mine was the Intercontinental title match, ladder. So,
Well, thanks for
clearing everything up. Yeah, I keep everything.
But, you know, outside of the NXT pay-per-views, and, you know, we had SummerSlam and Evolution. I do think Evolution, it was a brilliant pay-per-view, even though I only scored it an 8.
Yeah.
But it was a very good pay-per-view. It
was a great pay-per-view, and we'll talk more about in depth about each month, of course, on our New Year's special. We'll talk about that. Of course, we've got the year-end predictions for what to look at for 2019, whilst looking back at 2018. But there's one more awards left now, and it's WNR Awards 2018. 23 awards have we handed out today. Well, the 24th one is for the Women's Wrestler of the Year. Who is the true wrestler of the year, Dan?
For me, James, there's a couple of candidates there. You know, Nikki Cross for just her amazing portrayal of the character that she is. But there is only one, and I use this term like loosely, woman that could take the award, and that is Becky Lynch.
Yeah, I think I would have to agree with. Don't get me wrong, Oscar. If they hadn't fucked her up at WrestleMania and she had that moment now, you know, I might have gone Oscar. Sasha Banks, who's been my pick for 2015, 2016, fortunately not been around. Charlotte after the heel turn against Ronda Rousey's been great, and Rousey as well deserves credit. But like I said, Dan, there is only one choice. It is Becky Lynch is the Women's Wrestler of the Year. So we've gone the same for man and woman and match of the year. But why Becky Lynch, Dan? Just state the obvious of why Becky Lynch is everybody's Woman of the Year.
Just everything she has done. I mean, it has turned to gold. Her online game is just bang on point. Just her general attitude. From taking that sucker punch from Nia Jax, and just kind of adding it to her fuel, the fuel fire, the way she attacked Ronda Rousey backstage. I'm only taking one Raw out of everything that she's done, but she has completely turned herself around in character-wise. And, she's had very, very good matches as well. She has been underrated for the past couple of years. And, thoroughly deserves to be solely in the spotlight, not only carrying the women's division, but carrying the whole division of everyone on her shoulders.
Yeah, she is the best thing going in WWE. Talk about Stone Cold Steve Austin moment. There is your next superstar, megastar, if you do it right. And I feel that they will. If they're clever about this, Becky Lynch has got a lot more sustainability in her career, and is going to be around a lot longer than Ronda Rousey is. Don't get me wrong, Rousey's might be around for the next couple of years, might be around for the next 5 years or so. But there's a point where she'll go away, spend more time with her family, or maybe go back to MMA after a while. Whereas Becky Lynch, from a little girl she was, loved professional wrestling, used to train with Finn Balor or something like that, came across. And for how many couple of years was treated as an also-ran by probably everybody in WWE, you know what I mean? There's Sasha Banks, you had Bayley, and then you had Charlotte as a standout, and Lynch was kind of left alone. But then she finally made it, and now is an absolute just star. Becky Lynch, just an absolute star, and she should be the stand-up performer for 2019 as well. Dan, anything else about Becky Lynch?
No, I just hope they don't fuck it up. I hope they continue her push. I hope she goes, kicks Ronda Rousey's arse. And, ends her undefeated, goes on to continue being the man in WWE.
No, so that is it for the WNR Awards. Dan, what are your thoughts of WNR Awards? Some may be a little bit controversial, but are you happy with your picks?
I am very happy with my picks, yeah. Are you happy with your picks?
I think I am. I think I'm going to get a bit of shit for Finn Balor, but if I look at the awards, I think we're both kind of evenly managed across the two. I don't think there's anything that you said really that are really quite, that surprising. Want to watch Velveteen Dream if it's good shit. Underrated Anderson, maybe a little bit of a surprise. Apart from that, Charles Robinson as the referee. Alex Wright going into the Hall of Fame is brilliant. Both same match of the year, and Ronda Rousey. Pretty happy with everything that goes on there, so I think that's it. I think that's it for the Christmas special. Dan, how have you found Christmas this year?
It has been wonderful, so magical, and I always love this time of year. I just wish it could be a white Christmas.
That is disgusting. No, we always go all out. It's been the best Christmas special we've ever done, Dan, hasn't it,
It has, yes. And next year will be even better than this one.
Yeah, well, we always get bigger and better. We'll move on. Next year will be our 5th annual WNR Awards. But, of course, because it's a Christmas special, and because we're just about to wrap it up, we end on a song. And, Dan, there is nothing you can do. I'm contractually obliged to you to sit down my song. You better watch out, you better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why. Adam Cole is coming to town. Yeah, Adam Cole is coming to town. Adam Cole is coming to town. He's making a list and checking it twice. He's gonna find out who's naughty or nice. Adam Cole is coming to town. Dan, Adam Cole sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good, so be good for goodness sake. Oh, you better watch out, you better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why. Adam Cole's coming to town. Adam Cole is coming to town. Adam Cole is coming to town. Cha, 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 cha. What do you think, Dan?
Go and fuck yourself with a pineapple.
So our next episode is WNR 196. Of course, that would be WWE vs WCW Starrcade 1998. Goldberg versus Nash. The streak's on the line. But that is it for our Christmas special. I have been James Rowlands, and as always, I was joined by
Dan White.
I better do the actual normal thing, shouldn't I? Don't forget you can follow us on Twitter. Before we leave, let's do the plugs. Come on. It might be the Christmas Cottage. We might have had lots of eggnog. But don't forget you can follow us on Twitter at WNet Review or
at Vince McDan, WWE.
I'm at Jolands across all the Google platforms, WNet Review on Google+. Send us an email at the WNRpodcast@gmail.com. We're on Facebook.
Yes, Facebook. You can come and find our page and give us a like with the WWE Network Review podcast. And you can come and find me and add me as a friend. I am Vince McDan.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel, WWE Network Review. You can listen to our podcast on YouTube same time you can other places like SoundCloud. We're also on Spreaker Radio. We've got live shows coming in January. Stitch Radio, iTunes, where you can download, subscribe, rate and review there. But that is it. I have been James Rowlands, and as always I was joined by
Dan White.
Thanks for listening, everybody, and have a very Merry Christmas from the WNR team. Bye.
Bye.